Hey everybody, welcome back for episode 2 for Browns Talk. I'm going to talk about the Texans-Browns game from week 10 that just happened. It wasn't the most fun game ever, for sure, at points. There wasn't a ton of scoring. It was 3-0 for 3 entire quarters. But it was a win, so you can't be too mad about that at least. We'll go to the offense first. So the offense was up and down, I guess. You couldn't get points on the board, so it doesn't matter how well anybody was playing, really, if you're not getting any points out of it. And some of that's because the weather was shitty again, but still, these guys are young. A lot of them are on our team, and like last year, weather was fine here. Really, I work in snow removal, so like it didn't get real wintry in Ohio last year, and not that much the year before that. So, but yeah, we're gonna have to get over the not being able to beat teams like the Texans who don't play in this weather all the time by a decent margin. Like we got to do better in the crappy weather, and that's easier said than done. I'm sitting at a microphone, but still, I don't want it to become where, we have no weather advantage. We play in Cleveland. That should be an advantage for us. So, anyway, Baker, he didn't throw any interceptions, and in conditions like that, that's kind of one of the baselines there, so that's good. And he didn't even really throw any balls that were close to being an interception, despite the fact that some of them were clearly sailing because of the wind. So that's good. And I will mention that I don't know that I saw him underthrow a single pass that entire game. I think everyone went high or wide a little bit, and I think that's definitely an indicator that the wind was some part of it there. I don't think you're going to have, 8 misses and have all of them go over the target just as like a pure coincidence. So he did all right. He did enough to win the game for sure. The score wasn't really accurate. It should have been 17-7. Everybody, I'm sure, knows about the Nick Chubb run where he ran it on the 1-yard line. So really, this was a 17-7 win, honestly, when you're considering it from a going forward and what you can take from the game standpoint. And obviously, that's not what it's going to go down as. And a lot of people that have no idea what happened in the game will probably be like, "You barely beat my super." But either way, yeah, we did enough to win the game, but I would like to see Baker do better than that. That's 2 weeks in a row after coming off of that Bengals win where he throws 5 touchdowns and basically puts the game on his back and wins it. It's 2 weeks in a row where it's pretty questionable from him. And yeah, both of those had bad weather, so you got to kind of take that with a grain of salt, but it's not what you want to see, for sure. So we'll hope that as long as he keeps the interceptions down, if our defense played like they did this week, now that they're healthier and all that, I think that will be all right. But he's going to have to get more than 130 yards and 0 touchdowns to win some of these games too. So we'll see what happens. It's supposed to rain again next week, I think. We play the Eagles at home, and I'm pretty sure it's supposed to rain again next week. So we'll see. I honestly don't know if the rain's even in. I think it's more the wind than anything. We've just been gnarly wind the last 2 games. So I'm not going to sit here and praise Baker Mayfield for this game for sure, but he didn't lose us this game. So it's a low bar, but we'll take it. Hey, getting Nick Chubb back gives such leeway to him. Look at that. Yeah, it's not even just Nick Chubb's 126 rushing yards. Kareem Hunt plays better with Nick Chubb in the game, and that's for many reasons. The one that's obvious that everybody will say is that they're not carrying a solitary load of the entire game, so it's a lot easier when you're less tired to do that, which is true, and that's definitely part of it. But Stefanski is awesome. I'm so glad we finally have a decent coach. And if you look at what they do with the running backs, it's just awesome. It's so good. They almost didn't run Kareem Hunt at the beginning of the game. They did here and there, but they definitely come out and they run a lot of Nick Chubb. And everybody has come to expect at this point that Kareem Hunt is going to be the person who we're throwing the ball to if they're out of the backfield. And that's true. He's going to get most of the receptions, and he's better, honestly, in the receiving game than Nick Chubb is, in my opinion. That's just part of his game that Nick Chubb is not as good at as Kareem Hunt is. So there's a reason that people expect that, and then they come out and they'll run and run and run through Nick Chubb, and then they'll throw a couple throws to Kareem Hunt or whatever. And then in the fourth quarter, you'll see they run Nick Chubb a few times, and then they put Kareem Hunt in on like a third down, and it's like a third and long, and they'll run it to him. And everybody's like, okay, it's going to be a pass. Kareem Hunt's in here, and it's a late down. But then Kareem Hunt will just run, and he'll get like 11 yards because they're just not expecting that, because they've been expecting that, especially in that situation where you need to get that type of yardage, they're going to run Nick Chubb. And it's just the way he manages giving looks to sell a pass and then running Kareem Hunt and opening up a wider gap for him is just awesome. And you can just tell Kareem Hunt does better with Nick Chubb, and no matter what area of the game it's in, he's just as good. And having them both back is awesome. It's super awesome. I don't care how boring the game was for the 3 quarters where there wasn't really a lot of scores. Just having Nick Chubb back makes you feel so much better. I was not nearly as nervous as I was at the Raiders game. Now, granted, we were behind in the Raiders game a lot, but still, like, it's just a comforting feeling to know that you're going to have Nick Chubb break one off at some point, or if he doesn't, Kareem's going to. And for a few weeks there, it just didn't feel like that at all. And that's not really a knock on just Kareem Hunt. I mean, we have Kareem Hunt to do things, and we have Nick Chubb to do things. They're not exactly the same back at all, so like they're going to have different roles and stuff. And I don't think Kareem Hunt is bad in any way, shape, or form. I think if we only had Kareem Hunt and we didn't have Nick Chubb, we would be all right. I don't think we would be nearly as good as we are right now, and I think that's the same thing if we just had Nick Chubb. But I mean, we're so lucky to have these two guys back there together. So seeing that gives me a lot more hope for the offense. It does still suck that we don't have Odell, and I hate that the last 2 games were weather games like this, so we can't see what they play like without Odell. I know that most of that game Odell was out for the Bengals game, and Baker did really good. But I'd like to see more than one game where they can do that. And Hollywood's doing a great job, honestly, but it's just the conditions and everything haven't been there for Baker to do super duper well in an entire game without OBJ out there, and I would like to see that happen. And I definitely miss Odell, and I want him back. Having him to throw in a trick play like we were doing against the Cowboys with all this other running stuff go on would have just really helped. So with the Eagles, I think we can beat the Eagles with this offense for sure. And I'm just hoping the weather's a little bit better and we can see Baker really get out there and do some good stuff again. So we'll see what happens there. We'll go on to the defense. Myles Garrett is an insane person. Like, what the He only got credited with half a sack, which I do think that one with him and Sheldon probably was a half a sack. That kind of makes sense. He did get, he was the person that got the sack started, you know what I mean? But Sheldon definitely secured it there, and you want something like that with a quarterback like Deshaun Watson. So I doubt Myles was super mad about that. His joke in the press conference about it was pretty funny, but the line in general, though, did good. Sheldon got he got a full sack between, I think 2 half sacks. And then Larry got a half and Myles got a half. Now, Myles really had another one, I guess because it was a designed run that doesn't count as a sack, even though he tackled the quarterback behind the line of scrimmage. I guess that's not a sack. But he had multiple tackle for losses because of that, and then the half a sack. And anybody who watched that game knows he contributed more than half a sack to that. So he had multiple pressures to that play where he just chased down Deshaun Watson. Of all quarterbacks, he just chases down Deshaun Watson like it's nothing and chases him out of bounds on the sideline. That's just insane for somebody that's as big as Myles Garrett. So once again, a lot of credit to Myles today. I'm sure we'll be saying that pretty much every week. Ronnie Harrison, really good addition. 6 tackles, most on the team this week, and he's just there. He's just good at it, and it was a little rough at first. You saw some rusty stuff from him, and I'm sure that has to do with trading in the middle of the season, and even though their system is, in the ballpark of ours, it's still a new systems and it's new people, and you got to learn all new communication with the rest of your defensive backs because those guys have to communicate with each other about what's going on and the linebackers and all that. So it's definitely understandable to have some rough starts there, but he's really picked it up. He's the only one who's got a pick 6 on our team this year, so you got to give him credit for that. And he's there. I think he'll get another interception here soon. He's really getting better and better every week, it looks like, to me. So, really happy with Ronnie Harrison. The linebackers actually did pretty good. Mac Wilson got a penalty. Seems like kind of a pussy penalty to me, but I guess he probably shouldn't have slammed dude like that. But still, like, good play, great tackle. Only had a couple, but still, we'll take it. Taki didn't play very much, but he did get a tackle for loss in there that was pretty important. And B.J. Goodson's been getting a little bit better, and it's a less of a gaping hole in the coverage that was around him. Near the beginning of the year, there was a lot of holes with our coverage because of him and Tavir Thomas. So it's nice to see that kind of disappearing over time. And I'm really pleased with Malcolm Smith. Like having Malcolm Smith around. I think he's good. I don't think he's the greatest linebacker of all time or anything, but he's definitely good leadership-wise, it seems, and he makes some decent plays. So I'm happy with the linebackers this week. I don't know why I skipped to the linebackers instead of going over the rest of the line really more in detail, but like Ogunjobi played pretty good this week. He did have a penalty again. He's got to stop getting penalties. He gets too many penalties this year. But he had a good game, and it kind of felt like he was falling off a little bit there, so that was good. Sheldon Richardson, even better game, and I like a lot of what I'm seeing from Sheldon this year. I do think Larry still needs to improve, but I'm happy with Sheldon so far for an extent, and Olivier Vernon is just not good. Really wish he would have done something about the end of the line. I mean, I just said he had 2 sacks not that long ago or whatever, but still, it's just like it just feels like he's not even on the field a lot of the time. It sucks, and I really wish we had another good edge rusher. Denzel Ward, great game. Breaking up passes, almost tied for the most tackles on the team. Denzel Ward's a fucking stud. Sandejo did have one alright play this week. It's just bad to see him out there. I guess Carl Joseph's not as fast as him and plays a different type of safety role, but it's hard to envision that Carl Joseph could not do Sandejo's job better. I don't know. It's discouraging to look forward to the rest of the season and have him back there for the whole time. We were playing single high looks a decent amount this game, and just looking up there and seeing the only person on that back line is Sandejo is scary, to say the least. I still haven't heard any news about Greedy Williams. He was injured last year off and on, and he's just been hurt so much this year, and even when he's been in, he's been hit and miss. I really thought we had something there, and it's become a scary situation, to say the least. I wish that we could see what he's got, and I wish we could see him back on the field. I definitely think, at a minimum, he or Mitch could probably play safety better than Sandejo, but what do I know? Kevin Johnson's been doing all right, though. It's been great to have Kevin Johnson back. Since we have him instead of Tavir Thomas, it's definitely making a difference. Did a much better job getting him off the field on 3rd down and stuff. That they were 50%, so that's not great. We want to try and push them lower than that if we can, but we'll take it. It's better than what it was, where we couldn't get the Raiders off the field and we had almost no possessions the entire game. So improvement there. Special teams, huge problem. Donovan Peoples-Jones has got to be convinced to stop doing what he's doing or replaced. Like, I get the upside of having him back there, but we're, this close to a disaster. He almost just nullified that possession in which Nick Chubb got a huge run and sealed the game out. Like, we almost didn't get that possession because he fumbled the fucking ball and then kicks it and then stumbles around, and we've got the ball on the fucking 4-yard line. Like, dude, it's raining like that. It's that close of a game. You're on the 2-yard line. The ball is going to go into the end zone if it lands on the 1 or 2-yard line. There's no way the forward momentum of that ball on a kickoff, it's not a punt, you know what I mean, is going to carry it backwards. It's almost impossible. It's possible. It's a football. It's not a regular ball, so it can. But, come on, dude. That is heart-wrenching to watch. He's had multiple miscues like that. I get that he's a rookie. I get that he just scored us a game-winning touchdown. I'm fine with him being out there as a receiver. But he is scaring the shit out of me on special teams. They've got to do something about that. He fields way too many balls for someone who can't get back to the 25-yard line. And he does it in a situation like that and almost costs you the game. You give the ball to the Texans right there at that field position, or you fumble it and they literally just carry it into the end zone right there, the game is almost certainly over and we lose. We gotta do something about this. Not only that, our ability to stop other teams from getting good returns does not seem good or consistent. We've got to do better on special teams. That was the best part of the team last year. There's a reason Mike Prefer's the only one that stayed on from last year. Special teams was a fairly reliable, good set of players last year, and it was going well. I don't know what the hell is happening with this. It's just bad. It's just bad. So I can't point to a game in which special teams specifically has lost us a game this year, but this was almost one. And I am going to be a very unhappy camper if it ends up that is the case here soon. We cannot let that be the case. Something's got to be done. Gillen and Parkey, both good. No problems with the kicking. It's our returns and our ability to stop other returners just got to be improved. And that's all there is to it. And I'm just terrified now that, either something's going to go really bad on special teams or, possibly just as bad. What if Donovan Peoples-Jones gets one of these risky ones he shouldn't be getting and he somehow breaks it open and gets a touchdown off of it, and then he keeps doing it because he got a touchdown and, now he thinks he should. Then it's almost certainly going to lead to a disaster. It's we just can't have that happen. I don't want to have a loss because of that at this point when there's all these teams in the playoff hunt. We've got to play the Eagles, we got to play the Jets, we got to play the Giants, we got to play the Jags. These are all wins. We got to get all these wins. So, it's scary, but let's see what happens there, I guess. Eagles game coming up soon. I think that's a win for us. If our defense plays like they did this week, it's definitely a win. Deshaun Watson is not a turnover factory in the way that Carson Wentz is. Carson Wentz is a turnover machine, and at one point this year, we had the most turnovers out of anybody. So I'm confident that we can get some turnovers this week. Hopefully Baker will capitalize on those, get in his rhythm, and we'll get going, and we'll see what happened, the Baker from the Bengals game. Let's cross our fingers for that. I'll try and do a video later, maybe a preview video, and get more into the Eagles game and my thoughts about that. But I think we can win that, so let's hope we carry this one over, win that one, get up to 7-3, and be in a good position, and then we can hopefully beat the Ravens. I have confidence we will play better against them. I hope we can beat them. They seem beatable for us at this point. And then, man, it would be great to beat the Steelers. Everybody knows that. So we'll see what happens there. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. I'll probably try and do something like Friday or Saturday for the Eagles game, so look out for that. And I'm working on another highlight video, too. Really glad everybody's liked the highlight videos, and they've gotten a really good response. And, yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good week. Go Browns.